Zero Suit Samus was once a meta titan in Smash Ultimate.
A meta titan? Okay.
Notably keeping many of the lamest characters in the game at bay.
That's actually facts. She would call the Game & Watches, the Luigis, the Pac-Mans. You guys didn't watch any of those people because of us. Are there anti-meta characters in Ultimate? What the f is an anti-meta character? I want chat to define anti-meta for me right now. ZSS in Japan. I've actually heard that. Honestly, I've had a lot of people say to me that Zero Suit is like very good in this meta. That is just not good enough, in my opinion. I don't think that makes like a character good in the meta. You beat like roughly 5 of the characters at best that are top tier. These are all characters that you're going to have to fight that are like meta relevant. You know what I mean? You need a better matchup spread against the top tiers to be considered anti-meta, in my opinion. But I'm curious as to what this video says because maybe it'll expand. Let's watch this video.
At the top level has become far more fun to watch than it should be. This is because, unfortunately, the game is bad, now dominated by the likes of Steve, Sonic, and Mr. Game & Watch, 2 of the lamest characters in Smash history and 1 of the funniest, but also the most broken. And yet, in spite of that, a large majority of the game's consistent top 50 players don't play these characters. Stubbornly, but thankfully, they press on with their own mortal characters. But one must also imagine what the game would look like if the top players were less stubborn and more willing to explicitly counterpick. Because the alternative would be to imagine that they all give in to the darkness in their souls and play Steve, Sonic, and Game & Watch themselves, which would surely result in the collapse of Smash Ultimate as a spectator sport and its eventual usurping by fellow 28.
We need less Steves, less Game & Watches, less Sonics, less Fox players.
I guess the question becomes, how would you counterpick the top 3 characters in the game? It's a widely accepted belief that Steve has no losing matchups and only a few that are even, and Sonic...
Is there a character that confidently beats Aegis, Steve, and Sonic? Probably Cloud, but also Spargo doesn't even go Cloud against Sonic, so...
Sonic's top players seem to think he could beat God if the timer was set at 8 minutes. Well, thankfully, we have a pretty convenient answer in the form of a kid called Spargo. Let's talk about Smash Ultimate's anti-meta characters.
To find out what anti-meta is or means, you need to find out the meta, and then think about the opposite of it. What are the similarities that Sonic, Steve, Game & Watch all have? They do preposterous amounts of damage per opening, great recoveries, all super boring. Yep, that's very true. This isn't a therapy session, all right? I'm just asking a question. I'd say those are the 2 biggest key factors to like being successful in Ultimate is damage output and good recovery.
Spargo is a young man from Mexico who loves K-pop and sword characters and just kind of showed up one day and started beating all the best players in the world. Yes, seriously, another one. They must have some kind of lab over there or something. Spargo is consistently North America's best answer to the triumvirate of evil that often descends upon Smash Ultimate's major tournaments. He has a hugely positive overall record on Arcola, the #1 ranked player for about 2 years now and the best Steve in the world. He has less encounters with Mia, the best Game & Watch in the world, but has generally beaten him in the few
I could agree with Cloud being anti-meta, actually.
Until Spargo materialized in a puff of tiny K-pop loving smoke next to a crying Sonic player, Cloud is a character no one was really looking twice at. Spargo is the only real representative of the character at a top level, and his position on the tier list is surely almost entirely down to Spargo's success.
True.
I am personally of the belief that Cloud on his own merits is not a top tier character in Smash Ultimate, perhaps a high tier at best. But Cloud is uniquely suited to the current meta, specifically because of his matchups against Steve, Sonic, and Mr. Game & Watch. Perhaps if the meta were less well suited for a man of Cloud's talents, if super heavies with disjoints like Bowser and DK had more top tier qualities, and if the lone top level Pikachu player weren't from a country currently run by Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, things would be a bit...
What did he mean by that?
Matchup chart I could find from Arcola, he considers Cloud to be one of Steve's only 4 out of 70 plus in the game even matchups. Steve is obviously...
Wait. What is Arcola's matchup chart? Only losing to Aegis? Let me ponder this. As someone who plays neither Steve nor Pyramithra, I disagree.
He has a bunch of stubby normals, and his only projectile is this directly descending abomination that also has a shockwave hitbox upon landing, because this was a game never meant to be played competitively, and we have forsaken God. Steve's stubby range means that he is frequently beaten out by Cloud's long, disjointed hitboxes in the mid-range, and these same disjointed aerials are the reason he can dismantle the blocks Steve likes to hide behind so easily. Steve also struggles somewhat with getting off the ledge. He doesn't really have any crazy extra mix-up options like a Samus or a Robin forward air, so he has to play the ledge like a normal person, and that results in Cloud, who pays rent at the ledge, totally destroying him. This is all to put simply, a Cloud player only has to outplay a Steve player a bit in this matchup, as opposed to the a lot required by most other characters, and Spargo is a player I'm convinced can outplay basically anyone in the world on a fundamental level. You, even with Cloud...
Give me another character. I don't want to talk about Cloud anymore, I get it. I wouldn't want more relevant Clouds, I'm just going to say that right now. Chat, I think Cloud's kind of boring and not cool.
Something Sonic frequently does after passing through an opponent's shield with spin dash and presumably calling them a slur along the way is using a spring to retreat to beautiful aerial safety. Or at least, it would be safety if Cloud didn't have an up air the size of a fridge. Sonic players feeling forced to put themselves in disadvantage after an unsuccessful spin dash is not often a problem against characters with smaller hitboxes that can't chase them down or trap the subsequent air dodge.
I'm glad he said that they put themselves in disadvantage, because Sonic players really be doing that. They're just like, I have to spring, I have to get away from my opponent, it's the only option.
Mr. Game & Watch has a similar problem to Steve in that he has generally poor range. He also has this up B that... Sorry. It's frame 3. Oh, I need to get my composure. It's frame 3. Invincible on startup can be cancelled out of into aerials, functions as an incredible recovery move, and stage spikes you at 0 with the force of a UFC fighter whose fist is also a train. It's insane. It is very possibly the single most broken move in the entire game. I would make that argument. It might even be worse than Steve, Minecart, or Up Tilt, and I think you could argue that it's more important to Game & Watch's viability than Sonic's Spin Dash, but that's for a different video I'll never make, because I don't care to justify that opinion. This move is obviously a serious...
Yeah, this guy's funny, I like it. I like so far.
Game of Smash Ultimate. Most notably, any character who makes combos, and therefore being cool, a central part of their game, loses soundly to Game & Watch, who up-Bs them anytime their combo stops being true, which is very often because there are actually very few true combos in Smash Ultimate of more than 2 hits. Most of what you're actually seeing is strings, i.e. sequences of moves that are not frame tight, and therefore sequences that Game & Watch can just up-B you out of. Mario Bros, Fox, Greninja, Captain Falcon, all of these characters' saucy game plans are shut down almost entirely by Game & Watch having this completely obscene get out of jail free card to deny their combos at every turn. For Corrin, I'm going to go kind of fast because honestly a lot of the stuff that's been said about Cloud also applies here.
If he's about to call Corrin anti-meta, I would disagree, because Corrin damage output is egregious.
Corrin is a sword character that no one really looked at twice until a young man named Shaddick from Texas, who loves sword characters and listens to K-pop. Wait, Texas? That's right on the border. There is definitely something going on there. Showed up and started.
God damn, this guy gets it.
There was also Neo, who was taking names in Japan even before Shaddick.
That needs to be studied. This guy's right. What's good with, like, these young sword players loving K-pop and being nasty at Smash Brothers? What is the correlation? And how does it happen? Is there a spawner?
But what's clear is that she has specifically doable matchups against the top 3. And yeah, much like Cloud, a lot of this is down to her back air and up air in particular. Corrin's back air...
I also wouldn't even say Corrin does like phenomenally against all of these characters. I don't know. Like, I think Shaddick has probably beaten all of them, but like, I don't know. Like, I feel like Corrin doesn't do incredibly. You know? I disagree with this one.
Corrin's side B is surely the biggest reason she's decent into Sonic, as it gives her a strong and threatening kill move to contest Spin Dash from range. Corrin's edge guarding and ledge trapping is not quite as good as Cloud's, but a combo game is surely better, and I emphasise combos here, not strings. Sometimes, when she hits you with a neutral air at low percent, she just gets like another 5 hits out of it so fast that not even Game & Watch can do anything about it.
Like, I would consider the damage you get during advantage state to be like damage that you get per opening, which means that she gets a lot of damage per opening. No. No. Boo.
It really is, and as of right now, Arnon can get
disagree.
one single interaction. He's not gonna do it! No kill screen! And Mars pops up!
Zero Suit Samus was once a meta titan in Smash Ultimate.
A meta titan? Okay.
notably keeping many of the lamest characters in the game at bay. Before a proverbial meteor...
That's actually facts. She would call the Game & Watches, the Luigis, the Pac-Mans. You guys didn't watch any of those people because of us.
ZSS was nerfed. The end lag on her neutral air, a move key to her neutral and vital to exerting pressure, was increased, as was the start up of her boost kick up B. These nerfs looked pretty insignificant at first, but they actually proved to be pretty damaging, particularly the neutral air nerf. But what I think is quite interesting is that while these nerfs have affected her viability overall, I don't particularly think they've affected her in some very specific matchups. Notably, the ones we're talking about today. You see, there's a unifying theme amongst this satanic Triforce, a lack of range. It's exploiting that lack of range that's made Cloud and Corrin so good against them, and it's seemingly the same for ZSS here. ZSS's Zair in particular is a hugely disruptive tool against all three
And
of these
extremely
characters.
easy to parry.
But that's not the point. Just being able to poke Steve and stop him from mining and indeed crafting whilst approaching but still keeping yourself at a safe distance is huge. ZSS gives Game & Watch a taste of his own medicine. A similarly obnoxious piece of move on a less annoying character, and surely one of the single most broken moves in the game even still. ZSS's down B, the flip jump, effectively does the exact same thing as Game & Watch's up B without the added bells and whistles of stage spiking you on the way up. A frame 3 or frame 2, some people say it's frame 2, move with invincibility on startup. This move allows ZSS to basically skip disadvantage state and escape any string your opponent might try and hit you with, and at least in 2024...
Get to the point where she's anti-meta, dude.
You have a character who can take advantage of the top 3 stubby range in the way Cloud and Corrin do, but you also have a character who can uniquely escape and negate their insane combo game. ZSS is not a good character on her own merits after the nerfs, even more so than Cloud.
I will agree a lot with the point that he made. You do kind of nullify a lot of the bullshit involved with the character by just simply not engaging with it. You just downbeat and that's it. He's winning me over.
But she is again uniquely suited to deal with the 3 characters currently dominating the meta, and the results show it. At this year's Supernova, Mars, long since prioritising streaming over competing and having long gone from the game's top 10, defeated Mia, the Game & Watch player recently crowned the number 2 player in the world. Mia would go on to state that Mars was one of the players he was most scared of playing, presumably due to his dominating record over Meister pre-pandemic, and likely due to his knowledge that ZSS's nerfs have not made her any worse into Game & Watch. Also, at
that's actually not true. He said that Zero Suit's nerfs didn't affect the Game & Watch matchup, but that's actually not true. I'm pretty sure if you nair Game & Watch's shield, now he can up B out, like, and you do it poorly spaced. You used to be able to jab, but now you can't.
But any high to top level player sick of taking 80% because they got touched by one of Game & Watch's pubes during a neutral air should seriously consider putting some time into her, I think. All the evidence suggests that she really does still have some game in these particular matchups.
He convinced me. She's a little anti-meta.
There's one more character I want to talk about as a potential anti-meta character in Smash Ultimate. It's not
that whole part with the being able to subvert their ridiculous advantage state. Definitely a boon, and it better not be Falcon.
Character that you're likely expecting. It's not even a character that's very good, like at all. Nor is it a character with any wealth of data supporting my theory. But this is exactly that. Theory, and I thought maybe it might be fun if you would perhaps indulge me on a belief I have held quietly for some time now. Hear me out now, but there's a character that if people, particularly high-level players, took just a bit of a closer look at, they might just find they could do some damage against Ultimate's modern top tiers.
Don't say Falcon. He's not. Oh, Ricky.
The Belmonts are not good characters in Smash.
Low-key, I kind of agree, chat. I kind of agree. No, chat, he's cooking. All right, let's take it one matchup at a time, right? Game & Watch struggles with approaching against characters with big-ass disjoints. Ricky. I don't agree with the Sonic one that much. but he has a lot of tools to deal with, like spin dash and stuff like that, right? He's got the holy water, he's got the cross, and Wild Times F tilt might just do what it's got to do. However, Richter versus Steve, playable matchup, in my humble opinion. But you don't have to worry about the blocks. You can just throw the axe, or you can just swat away the blocks with one little aerial. Let's see it.
Smash Ultimate. But they do, I believe, have the specific tools to deal with Smash Ultimate's most horrifying monsters. Primarily by exploiting the threesome's, say it with me now, lack of range. Lack of range. You f***ed that one up, didn't you? Yeah, sorry. You only need to look at 5 seconds of Belmont gameplay to see the range they have on their attacks. Basically any aerial could disrupt Steve's mining or crafting, wall out Game & Watch, or challenge.
This really just
Sonic's
depends on
speed
how
dash.
Belmont's
But I think the
aerials
real
do
kickers
against
here are the side B, the cross,
thingy.
and the down B, Holy Water. The cross travels even further
Minecart.
than the Belmont's already extremely long aerials, and the Holy Water is straight up one of the best ledge trapping tools in the game. And we've established that all three of these meta threats are a little limited at the ledge. I'm not going to sit here and try and tell you that the Belmonts are some secret counter to the top three, but I believe they do clearly have almost all the same tools as the characters we've discussed so far, whilst just being worse overall characters. They have the range, they have the ledge trapping, and while the hitbox on their up air is very narrow, they do, to a lesser extent, have the juggling. What they also have is a dog water recovery, and generally among the worst disadvantaged states in the game, with naught but a poor man's Game & Watch up B to escape from combos. This up B can work occasionally in this sense, which is more than you can say for a lot of other characters, but it's still no match for a character like Game & Watch's frame trapping abilities. Still though, it's rare for a character to be able to destroy Steve's blocks.
So what this guy is telling me is that Hazmat can save ultimate. He's just choosing not to.
Against Steve and Game & Watch specifically, I just think there might be something there to a Belmont counterpick. It doesn't take much time watching either of these matchups to see how the Belmonts really could function as a low-key counterpick in much the same way that they somewhat understatedly dealt with Olimar before his nerfs. They have a pedigree in snuffing out stubby top tiers, and if someone were willing to put in the time, I think they could cause quite a shift in the meta by busting out the Belmonts. All you have to do is never lose neutral
Look how
once.
young
So
Shoot
go on,
looks.
top players. Get in the lab, get chucking that holy water, and get exercising those demons. I greatly anticipate the shout out in your inevitable Genesis victory speech.
How many matches of Belmont do I have to play to try and queue up against a Steve player, you know? Try and like prove his theory. I might be the Belmont we're looking for. Yeah, this shit is just as meta as all those other My coverage. Almost. Gosh darn it. A true combo! Nuh-uh. Alright, hold up. This is the time. This is the time I do it. Someone's got a solution. Go to try hard mode. Time bot! Fuck off my stage. You're alive. This is a good thing. Don't die? I wasn't sure. I don't know what to do. Simon and Richter made. Do you have any tips for me? When you're camping, you should throw out the holy water and then do this move. A lot of Belmont players Don't know about this move. It's really good.